Most people using Hermes Agent are barely scratching the surface of what it can do. If you're running Hermes, there's a good chance you're missing some of the coolest features that nobody is talking about. I've been running Hermes now for months, and it started out as just an on-call engineer to pretty much fix Openclaw. But now it's turned into something much more powerful with a full multi-agent system and some pretty cool features I'm about to show you in this video that have taken Hermes to the next level. So one of the coolest new plugins that Hermes Agent has added is the Home Assistant plugin. And for those of you that don't know what Home Assistant is a system that you can run on a server to essentially control all of the smart home devices in your entire house. Now, right here, I have my initial dashboard that I've spent hours setting up. I'm not going to be going through how to set up Home Assistant, but if you're interested, go and check out some other videos on Home Assistant. And as you can see here, I have nearly 164 devices in my house. And with this new Hermes integration, you can set this up so that it can see every single device in your house and control everything, which is unbelievable. It is so cool. So all I have to do is say to your main agent, hey, I want you to set up the Home Assistant plugin, and it'll figure out everything that you need. As long as it's on a smart model, my Hermes agent is right now on GPT 5.5 through OpenAI. So all it's going to ask you for is the website that you're hosting your Home Assistant on, as well as a token that you can grab from the Home Assistant website. And I'll just show you guys really quick where that is. You go to your profile here, you go to security, and then at the bottom, you can pull a long-lived access token. And those are the only two things it needs. It's super simple. You create your token, copy it, give it to it in this command line process, and then you have Home Assistant fully set up. And let me show you like what I mean. So I can say something like turn off my office lights. And then it goes ahead and uses the Hermes Home Assistant integration skill. And then there you go. Lights are off. So that is pretty cool. And like I said, you can control anything in your house. So you have a certain scenes or different scripts that you run with Home Assistant. You can easily run that all in Hermes. And let me just turn them back on real quick. There goes. Pretty cool. So another thing you can do is if you have this set up in either like Discord or Telegram. In my case, I have some different agents set up. You can go check out my other video. I did a full integration guide from Openclaw to Hermes for just your agents and all of their personality traits. So right now I have my assistant. This is Nova, and this agent is set up on a local model so that I don't have to worry about usage costs through ChatGPT 5.5. And you will have to tell your main agent, hey, I want this specific agent or profile. They call them profile in Hermes. You want this profile to have access to this skill. So in this case, I'm going to tell it something very specific here. I'm going to say activate the studio lighting scene. And there we go. I have my new studio lighting that I'm going to be using moving forward with all my videos. I've got that fully set up with the light bar, and it's just a scene for my office. It dims my lights, and then it turns on the new studio lights, and it is awesome. The next really cool feature is text-to-speech that a lot of people don't activate or even know that it is enabled by default. And you don't even need an API key or anything. It actually uses a free system. If you do want some more advanced text to speech, you can pay for like the Whisper model and import your API key and do all that stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, this works just as good as anything that I've used that is even a premium service, unless you want different kind of voice models and things like that. So in order to activate this, I'm currently in one of my agents' chat. So I'm going to actually just say Nova, and you won't have to do this if you're just using one agent. If you're just using one agent, all you have to do is type in /voice and then TTS. And now it says auto TTS enabled, all replies including a voiced message. Let me just show you guys here. So if I pull out my phone and I just use the voice recording function inside of Discord here, activate the default office scene. So there it goes. And it just activated my normal lights and turned off the studio lights. And then it also provided us with this message here that you can play back.
Scene is active. case Sparkle's studio lights bar turned off as part of the scene.
So it's not perfect. It tried to say the emojis here. Now let's go ahead and turn that scene back on. Turn on the studio lighting scene. And there we go. It activated that scene, and then let's play back this message here.
Studio lighting scene is active. Clapperboard Sparkle's studio lights bar and office light both on.
So now you have a way to communicate with it with both audio on each end. And you can also turn that off. If you really don't want that, you can just say voice off and it'll turn it off for you. Now its voice mode is disabled. It's just /command voice off. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's a feature that a lot of people don't seem to discuss, I noticed. And the next feature that a lot of people don't talk about is the ComfyUI plugin. I think this one is really cool. I am currently using it with a subscription, but if you have a powerful graphics card or a system that can handle some of these image models, you can also run it locally. And it's the same thing. You just go to your terminal and say, hey, I want you to set up the ComfyUI plugin. I've already got it set up, so I'm not going to do this, but all it's going to do is the exact same thing. It's going to ask you for an API key. You can pull that if you have a Comfy Cloud subscription, or if you have it set up locally, you can set it up as a server on one of your systems, and it's just going to ask you for everything it needs, and then it's going to fully get that set up. I actually did a full video guide on that, so if that's something that's interesting to you, check that out. I'll put that in the description below. So what I have done is I set up a Discord server here, and I made an image generation category over here, and this one is ComfyUI. And the cool thing about ComfyUI is you can use any model that's hosted on Hugging Face. You just have to tell it what model you want to use. So one of my favorite image generation models is Z Image Turbo. I think it does some of the most realistic photos, and I think it's far superior than even what some of these huge cloud companies can do, which is pretty cool. So I could do something like use Z Image Turbo to generate a photo of a crowded neon lit street in Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan at night after the rain, with hundreds of people walking around with glowing signs. I'm not going to read this whole prompt, but let's just see what it can do. And I'll show you guys what I mean with how crazy this image generation model is. And the coolest thing about what Hermes does is Hermes actually uses a vision model as well. So after it generates the photo, it uses a vision model to make sure it looks like it actually generated what I requested, which I think is just one of the coolest things. So I'm going to allow this session. And if I go back to my Comfy Cloud UI here, you can see that it has finished. And let's see what it produced for us. So it should, the way I have this set up, it should send the photo and video to this specific chat once it's completed. So I've essentially streamlined the whole process so that it'll automatically send me anything that it produces after it vision analyzes it and verifies that it's what I want in this specific Discord chat. And you can see here that it generated a really photorealistic, in my opinion. I've been to Japan and this is pretty solid. I haven't even tested this prior, and I think this looks amazing. Like, this is pretty accurate. If you're looking at like Japan from like the outside in, like this is really, really accurate. And then another cool thing you can do is video generation with this. So for example, I could say, take this photo and generate a 10-second video of people walking around using LTX 2.3. So LTX 2.3 is a video generation model. So if I go back to my ComfyUI interface here, you can see that it's starting to generate that video. And here we are back in our Discord chat. Let's see what it did here. And yeah, this looks absolutely awesome. Look at that. Go back to the beginning here. Just people walking around. I mean, this looks highly accurate. LTX is one of the better video models that you can use out there. WAN 2.2 is also very good. But yeah, this one's cool because it also adds audio. It doesn't look like it added audio, but I'm sure I could ask for it and it would add the audio as well. So really cool. And the next really cool thing that I think a lot of people know you can do now, but I don't know if they actually know that you can use the image generation variant of this model is you can set up Grok now in Hermes. And right now I have one of my agents set up on 4.20, the reasoning model. And really quick, another thing that you can do is you can set auxiliary tasks to be a specific model. Now, right now, all of my auxiliary tasks are using GPT 5.5. So for example, the vision model that we saw earlier with the ComfyUI analysis is specifically on 5.5, but if I wanted to, I could change it to a different model like my local model or an Anthropic model or even an XAI model. And you can change all these for the different tasks based on what you're trying to achieve. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature. And a lot of things that people don't talk about is you can use Grok with your Super Grok subscription if you have that for $30 a month or X Premium Plus for $40 a month. You can actually use the Grok Imagine feature, which I have set up here in this Discord chat. I have this right now set to Grok 4.2 using Intel, which is actually my research agent. And I might end up actually making a specialized agent for just image generation. But for now, I'm using Intel because that one is my research and development agent and it is also on Grok 4.20 reasoning right now. So for example here, I'm just going to take that exact same prompt minus telling it, which image model to use. I'm just going to say generate the photo because it's just going to use the Grok engine. And let's just compare to see how it looks compared to the ComfyUI image generation. And there it goes. And this is not too bad, honestly. This looks pretty cool. It actually did a night scene here and it looks pretty similar overall. I still think I like the Z image one a little better, but the cool thing that I've set up here is I can say something like make it daytime. So now it should use the vision model. You can look at the image and then try to regenerate it based on what I just told it. And here we go. Now it is in the middle of the day, and let's compare them a little bit. They aren't exactly the same. So that's another thing you can tell that it is kind of a different scene, but it's in generally the same city with the same kind of signage and everything. There's, for some reason, a vending machine right in the middle of the road. That's not very realistic, but still pretty cool. And the final feature, and I feel like a lot of people just use Hermes with one agent, and you can see that I've been using this with multiple agents. In Hermes, they actually call these profiles. And you can set up a bunch of different specific profiles. But what a lot of people I notice don't actually do is set up each profile with its own token in the messaging services. So for example, I have Discord here, and every single one of these has its own chat that I can go in and talk to it directly with its own bot token, own personality. It's not like being routed or anything. It's going directly to that agent. And this did take a little bit of time to set up, but you can just same thing, go to your Hermes CLI. And this is the exact prompt that I use to get this set up. I want you to set up individual bots for each profile and agent. Can you help me get this configured? And it was like, yeah, we can do that. And it went through and it thought about it and actually used Python to code a way that it could route them to Discord by using individual bot tokens. And it did take a little while longer to set up. But once I gave it all the bot tokens for all of my agents, now I have a full system set up that I'm going to start building out with all kinds of different channels. I've got a stock research one here. You guys saw the ComfyUI, Grok Imagine. I'm going to add all of my workflows from Openclaw, which I'm still working on getting the full transfer from Openclaw. But if this is something that interests you guys and you want a tutorial on how to get Discord fully set up and all of your agents routed with individual tokens, let me know down below in the comments. I'll see if I can make a tutorial video on that if I get enough people asking for it in the comments. So let me know. But yeah, this is really cool because now I can talk to all of my individual agents. Like for example, with Nova, we were just talking to her earlier and I'm now using her as the assistant to turn on and off my lights in my house and all of my smart home devices. So essentially individual tasks for each agent. And then with all of these individual categories, I can tell my main agent, Hermes, hey, I want you to route all of the traffic for the stock research to Intel, who is my research analyst. Or for the ComfyUI, I want that on the smartest model possible because it is a self-improving skill, which is something I kind of briefly went over. But I want that on the Hermes agent. So This is really cool. And like I said, I'm going to start fully building this out with all kinds of projects. I'm going to be importing all of my Openclaw cron jobs and all of its tasks and all of the different features that were included in Openclaw. My goal is to essentially do a full transfer. And right now I just have all of my cron jobs in Openclaw disabled until Openclaw gets a little more stable. And then we'll see if I ever want to switch back to it at some point. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you guys have any cool features in Hermes, let me know down below in the comments. I plan on doing some more Hermes content as well as a future Codex video that I think is going to be pretty cool. So if any of that kind of content interests you, consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, have a wonderful day.